Dr. Malachi Z. York says the universe began with the circle and the square. These geometric shapes, he says and states, are not the circle and the square as we view them on this realm. He says the circle and the square in actuality existed on higher abodes, higher dimensions, namely the spiritual plane and the plane of force. He says that the circle and the square house the pre-energy that actually merged together, and in the merging of the circle and the square and this pre-energy, it gave birth to the matter and radiation that birthed this universe. On this side of the board, you see two different geometric objects. In scientific circles, these geometric objects gave birth to the universe via two membranes. That's what these two objects or two sheets represent. This is proposed in a cyclic model, just like the cyclic model of Dr. Malachi Z. York, the cyclic model of Paul Steinhardt of Princeton University and Neil Turok of the Perimeter Institute in Canada. They propose that the universe came forth by two brains colliding their energy, where the kinetic energy, which is the energy of an object in motion, in this collision, generating kinetic energy, the collision or the crunch of these two brains or membranes or geometric objects gave birth to matter and radiation and the universe. And subsequently, the matter and radiation coalesced or unified to give birth to the stars, galaxies, and planets that we see today. Interestingly now, in the collision of these two brains, between the two sheets or two brains or two membranes is a fifth dimension. This means this scholar, Dr. Malachi Z. York, and the scientists, Turok and Steinhardt, are thinking outside of the box, because we don't have a fifth dimension. We have three spatial dimensions, which are height, width, and length. But yet here, you have scientists and scholars in their proposals for the birth of the universe thinking outside of that what you can see and that what you can detect by proposing higher dimensions for the birth of the universe in the case of Turok and Steinhardt, or higher abodes or planes in the case of Dr. Malachi Z. York. All physicists know that there are realities that exist outside of the physical. And what I mean by that is that when you look up the definition of the word physical, the word physical brings you back to that which can be detected by the senses that is distinct from the mind and spirit. And all physical matter is composed of that, meaning all physicality is composed of matter. And matter is defined as that which contains mass that occupies space. And this is distinct from physical energy that does not occupy space. So matter occupies space, but there's physical energy such as radiation that does not occupy space. It is present, but you can put various forms of radiation in the same spot and they will not clash, as opposed to matter. To make the distinction clearer so that you understand about physicality and matter, it is good that we turn to the standard model. The standard model are the building blocks presented by the scientists that teaches us about the foundations of all physical things. Because your senses is made up of matter. All physical things are made up of matter. And this matter or material have building blocks, foundation blocks. So, from the 60s and into the 70s, right up into the 2000s or the 21st century, scientists were formulating the standard model. And this standard model makes it very easy, or makes it easier, to understand about matter and its foundation principles from nature. What we have here, and we draw it like this, is your quarks family. Your quarks family are made up of your up quark, your down quark, your strange quark, your charm quark, and your bottom quark, and finally, the last of the quarks that were found in 1995, your top quark. 6 quarks in number. The quarks are the root of your nucleus. You do not see quarks physically, but they can be detected because they are the root of your protons and neutrons in the nucleus. So the foundation of your proton or neutron in the nucleus are your quarks, namely your up and down quark, which come under generation 1. The other quarks, the other 4 of them, strange, charm, bottom and top, come under generation 2 and 3, because right now today they do not occur or manifest naturally. They have to be created in laboratories or by experimental devices, namely at the LHC or formerly at the Tevatron Fermilab Center in Chicago, where they found the top quark. That's your quarks family of nature, 6 in number. On this side, you have what is called your lepton family. Your lepton family is made up of your electrons, your muons, and your tau. Additionally, and I'm flipping the names around, if you do your research, you won't see it like this, but it will register you clearer by me putting the word neutrino first instead of putting the word electron first, in the case of the neutrino electron, the neutrino muon, and the neutrino tau. All right? That's also 6 in number. These are your founding, basic, primal building blocks of matter. They combined come under the name fermions. They occupy or take up space. You cannot put 2 of them in the same space. They won't coexist. As opposed now to your bosons. Your bosons are the actual force carriers or carriers of your fundamental forces. You have the photon boson, and that's the carrier of electromagnetism. You have your gluon boson, and your gluons bind quarks together. And you also have your W and your Z bosons. They are very interesting because you may ask, what does this all mean? Well, if you take away any of these, we wouldn't exist. With the W and Z boson, particularly the W, there's a process called beta decay. And beta decay, in the form of beta decay plus, is when a proton transforms into a neutron and also gives you a positron and a neutrino. Now, we got one more boson, the last one that was found in 2012, right? And I put it up the top there, and that's the Higgs boson. And the Higgs bosons give certain particles their mass by interacting with the fields. These particles, like your quarks, interact with the Higgs field, and this gives them mass. Now, what is interesting is that with the fermions, we're dealing with matter particles here, 6 on this side and 6 on the other. Now, overall though, you're only dealing with 3 fields. Those 3 fields will be your quarks, electrons, and neutrinos. Those are your 3 fundamental fields. Now, the class is called Are You Physical Only? What I mean by that is, where is the quark's field of your emotions? Where is the quark's field of jealousy, or the electron field of hate, or the electromagnetic field of photons of love? Because wouldn't the emotions being distinct, love is different from hate, is different from jealousy, is different from hurt, is different from sadness. Those are all different moods, different vibrations. So would they also, as emotions, come from a field? Where are they? This proves that yes, indeed, the mind and the spirit, and might I add emotions, is distinct from the physical and matter. So are you physical only? No, of course not. But this session is proving to you beyond doubt that you are not only physical or material matter. What the confusion aspect is that in my book, that is not a book of confusion, on page 234, that I also learned what I'm about to say from a book called The Mind, is that the mind and the emotions are erroneously attributed to the physical body, because these are where their influences are directly perceptible through the heartstrings, or your heart, or your stomach, and those senses, or those fibers, and your mind. When you feel those emotions, they're coming through. But the scientists would have found your emotional field when they found the quark, if emotions were indeed physical. That is why the definition of physical makes a distinction and says that which can be detected by the senses distinct from mind and spirit. Because mind, spirit, and emotions are on a higher abode, a higher level of field beyond matter and beyond the physical. So are you physical only? No.